And I thought, is there a different way we can present this information to people? The stark reality is there's not enough of us out there. Yes, the need is great. We all agree on that. But who's going to meet that need? Welcome to Down There, a podcast dedicated to pelvic health and wellness for men and women. Hello again. This is Laura McKaig, and you are listening to the podcast Down There. What I want to talk about today is something that goes on outside the walls of the clinic, but can still be very, very helpful. What is that? Online resources for pelvic health. Now, we all know online has been the thing, well, since before COVID, but especially since COVID happened. We have found benefits of being able to go online, going to the internet, finding so much information that it often can be confusing and sometimes not so helpful. So now we're kind of in that information overload age where it's like I have all this information about my problem and I have all these people who are wanting to give me a solution, but how do I know what's legit? How do I know what's out there? Or you might not even find anything online, even though you are looking. Guys, you probably know what I'm talking about. I've had several patients who have said, I can't find anything online. I've looked and all I find are pink things and lady bits. And that's just not for me. I'm not feeling very welcome here. So what I wanted to do was to see if my out-of-the-box approach could include online resources, something that people can go to and find trustworthy, accurate, expert-level information that can guide them into them being able to solve their own problem. And yes, that is possible. I always say in-person physical therapy is the best option, but let's be honest, not everybody has access to that. And so I started to think about that. Now, I am not a technical wizard. I mean, I don't even like online stuff, but if that's the medium we need to use to get to more people and help more people, that is the medium that I'm going to explore and I'm going to learn about. So off I went on my quest of trying to find an answer to these questions. Well, why isn't there anything online for me? One of the answers came back in 2023. I was in Washington, D.C. at a Zero Prostate Cancer Summit. That is a group that goes to Capitol Hill every year and does advocacy and talks to our legislators about the need for better prostate cancer care and healthcare legislation to make that possible. And one of the speakers at the event was a physician, and she talked about online resources for men who have prostate cancer and how that was lacking. She talked about the lack of accessibility, just that there's not a lot out there. She also talked about the lack of accessibility in different languages. It's all in English usually. Or the lack of accessibility in a language that you can understand, meaning that's not full of medical jargon. Where are the resources out there that are talking to people in a language that they speak and not speaking to you like you are a physician or a healthcare provider? Not a lot out there. And I thought, hey, I might be able to help with that. There was also a lot of just frankly outdated and old information or misinformation, leading people or leaving people with the question, well, is this true? Is this accurate? What do I do here? But I thought this might be something I could help with. Could I provide some online resources that are not just from me and my perspective, but from the years of clinical experience, from the years of study, and from the years of training that I've had, can I share some of those basic principles with people in a different way than in-person service? Well, a couple days later, we were still on Capitol Hill. We were invited to Capitol Hill again for a cocktail party with 150 urologists. Yes, I know that sounds like the beginning of a joke, but in all seriousness, what happens when you go to a cocktail party with 150 urologists? Here's what happened to me. And I will say it really changed the way I wanted to help people. I wanted to know if these urologists really even knew pelvic floor physical therapy existed. How much did they know? How much do they refer their patients to pelvic physical or occupational therapists? I found a group of about 3 young men who were residents in their urology program. And so we started talking, and I asked them, hey guys, do you hear about physical therapy in your classes or in your training during your residency? Do you even know about it? How much have you been told? And they said, oh, sure, yeah, we know about it. We've heard about pelvic floor physical therapy, and we've heard it can be helpful. But where are you? And that question really took me back. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? Where are we? They said, where are you? We want to refer patients to you, but we can't find you. There's not that many pelvic floor therapists available, and there's even fewer who are willing and able to treat men. So that puts us in a bind. What are we as physicians supposed to do? And how in the world can we refer our patients to pelvic floor therapy when we can't find the therapists? Wow. I really thought about that. And I thought about that for a long time. And I thought, is there a different way we can present this information to people? The stark reality is there's not enough of us out there. Yes, the need is great. We all agree on that. But who's going to meet that need? How practical is it for everybody to get referred to pelvic floor therapy? It's a great idea, but it's not happening, and it probably won't for a while. Not everybody has physical access to someone. They live too far away. There's no pelvic floor therapist who treats men in your area. Maybe cost is another barrier that, everybody here doesn't take insurance, or I have to pay through my deductible, and that's going to cost hundreds and hundreds or thousands of dollars. And so cost can be a barrier. Time can be a barrier. I have patients who drive sometimes 2 hours to come see me for weekly appointments, and not everybody can do that. Not everybody can take off work once a week to come in for an hour-long physical therapy appointment or even a 45-minute therapy appointment. And those are just some of the real things we are dealing with in this day and age that are preventing people from getting in-person physical or occupational therapy for their pelvic health needs. So what do we do about it? Well, this is one thing I'm doing about it. I decided to explore that world of online resources myself. Could I create things, products, programs, resources, books that people can access, not just in Kansas City, but throughout the nation and throughout the world, to get good expert level information that's a really trusted guide who can guide you in helping you to solve your own problem. That's one reason I wrote the book, Piss Off, literally Controlling Your Incontinence After Prostate Surgery. That is currently available on Amazon. I plan to have a couple more books in the future, maybe some smaller ebooks. If you've got an idea or you would love to have information online about your particular problem, drop that in the comments below. I would really, really like to hear about it. I read all those comments, and that inspires me to help even more people. I'm looking at online programs, and I've just at the time of this recording, we are getting ready to launch an online program with personalized guidance for men who are struggling with incontinence after prostate surgery. I don't think this has ever been done before, so it's very, very new. People are really excited about it. I'm excited about it. And to see that this could help people maybe in a different way, but it can still address those issues in a way that works for them and in a way that maybe transcends a lot of those barriers that's keeping them from getting the help that they need and they want. Again, written resources, audio resources. Really, the possibilities are endless. My challenge is figuring out how to learn all the tech and figuring out how to create the content in a form that is not physical therapy, but also can address these questions and can give people real solutions for the problems that they have. That is possible. And I hope you find it encouraging that, well, at least one of us is working on it. I know there's other physical therapists, other occupational therapists doing online resources, and I'm excited about that. The more, the better. I think if we pool our resources and really help each other out, we can help so many people. This podcast is another example. I kind of like the format of podcast, and that's one other way to get the word out there. The two main things I always tell people who are suffering with pelvic health issues, who feel that they're alone, they're too far gone, they've been told by maybe their doctor, maybe somebody else, maybe they believe it themselves, oh, there's no help available. I just have to live with it. To that, I answer, you're not alone. You're not crazy. And no, you don't have to just live with it. I hope to be able to provide even more resources and even more innovative, creative ways to help that go beyond the four walls of a traditional clinic and can help a broad range of people, no matter where you live and no matter who you are. So here's to your pelvic health and finding ways to help outside the traditional box. See you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to the show. Drop in a comment and let us know how you liked this last episode. Do you have questions, or do you want to connect with us further? Perhaps you're ready to take that next step. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Pelvic Connection with Laura McKaig PT. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Laura McKaig PT, or visit our website at www.pelvicconnection.com to discover our online programs and resources or how to work with us in person. Here's to your pelvic health.